Hey, how you doing? Justin here. Today we're going to have a look at the song Times Like These by the Foo Fighters, only it's going to be the kind of Dave Grohl solo acoustic guitar version. We did quite a few promo radio shows. I know we did one on Radio 2 here in the UK. And it's just a really nice version. The only main difference between the two versions will be that... oh, Jed and his watch here bleeping away. That's Jedi Master, the cameraman, by the way, not my invisible friend who's sitting next to me, who's also called Jedi. So the Dave Grohl version, where it's acoustic guitar, sounds really sweet, and it makes it a bit easier to play, like if you want to play it with your mates at a barbecue, whatever that kind of vibe is what we're going for here. So the main parts are, the first thing is there's this kind of strange chord. It's kind of a D13, I guess you'd call it. We're going to go for a little close-up on this in a second to make sure that you get the fingering right, and these little, because what we're going to do is lift off this second finger in a particular pattern to make the intro. Now most of the song is just open chords, but there's this one little bit here which is this. It's the little riff that gets cycled. So it ends up being, which I'll go through that in the close-up in a sec. In fact, no, let's do that now, Jed. Close up this hand, please, my friend. Okay, so this is our little chord here. You'll notice I'm not using my first finger. That's because the other fingers are a little bit thinner and it's a bit easier to play. What we've got here is the second finger on the 5th fret, making sure that the second finger at the tip of it is just touching the 6th string to mute off the 6th string so it doesn't ring out. Then we've got this note here, which is the 5th fret. Then we've got the next string is open, so you've got to make sure you use quite the tip of that finger so you can still get that open string ringing out. Then we've got the 3rd finger on the 5th fret of the 3rd string. Then we've got open B string and little finger on the 5th fret of the thinnest string. Now, first of all, try and make sure that you've got all of those notes ringing out nice and clear. That's quite important. Now the actual riff part is going, lifting off this first finger for the first strum, down, and then it goes back on, up, down, then up, down. So that's 5, so it's going 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now that's the 5, so it does that twice, so it goes 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and the last time it does 3. 1, 2, 3. Now at the end of that 3 it does a little mute, so you end up with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3. Notice that each time we're starting with a down strum. Jed, can you see my pick hand in with this? Is it in? Yeah? Okay. So of course you're not actually going to play the pick up here, I'm just showing you so you can see the two together, but you have okay, that's enough close-up, Jed. Back to me. Okay, so we're back to the whitey. Now, so that main intro, that little chord sequence thing, wait, I'm just going to call it the D13 thing. Yeah, that happens at the beginning of the song, and it also happens sometimes in the verses. So I'm just going to run through now. So the intro would be... Then we go into the verse, which is a D chord. I'm on my way, going to an A minor. I'm the one that's C chord, going to E minor. Going to the intro. And I'll just run through that again slowly. So it's going D. I'm a street light, A minor. I'm a white light, blinding light, it's bright. That's an E minor, F, and then we're back to the riff. And then we're into the chorus, which is, the chorus is going C to E minor to D. Quite straightforward. It's interesting because it's a little 3-bar sequence. Most chord sequences are 4 bars. a little bit of the fancy stuff that he's doing in it now, as well as doing the actual strumming. Sometimes you can hear on the acoustic version he's kind of picking out some notes as well. So instead of just having this, he might go, particularly on the A minor, he does this little thing where he's adding his little finger's going down on the 3rd fret of the thinner string. I'm not going to try and tell you exactly where it is on the song. You'll have to use those little side of head attachment things that lets you recognise sounds to figure that one out for yourself. So the verses will be going D. Yeah, you get the idea, just adding a little twiddle in there to make it a little bit more exciting. In the chorus, he uses sometimes a sus4 and a sus2 on the D chord. So it's going C times like D, G, E minor, then it goes to D. But sometimes he's going. So that's just adding your little finger, play regular D chord, adding your little finger down on the 3rd fret of the thinnest string, which makes it a D sus4, then back to regular D, and then lifting your 2nd finger off makes it to D sus2, and then back to D. So it gives you just a little more interesting melody for the end, where at the end of the vocal line. Now you can, it kind of changes the way, he doesn't seem to play it a consistent way all of the way through, because he's just making it up as he goes along. And that's the only sections to the songs, the verse and the chorus and the riff part. So the best thing to do would just be to listen to it. If you do a search on the internet, you'll soon find Dave Grohl's acoustic versions if you want to play it along exactly like he does, or just kind of make your own version up by listening to the original Foo Fighters track, which is, I mean, it rocks. It's serious, fucking great rock and roll. Anyway, okay, I hope you enjoyed my little snippet of some Foo Fighters, and I'll see you again for another tune or another lesson sometime soon. Take care.